Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video we are going to be talking about this beautiful Aeonium called as Aeonium Black Rose. I'll put the botanical name on the screen. I'm sure it has a very different name which I'm going to be sharing on the screen. Now I'm going to be putting this succulent in level difficult. I know a lot of people find it very easy to grow this succulent. The reason is the climate environment. That's the important part for this variety of succulent. It's an extremely delicate kind of a variety. A lot of people might find it extremely difficult to grow this particular variety of Aeonium. However, some people might find it like super easy to grow. The main reason is, one is the environment, the climate. They prefer a very cool and dry environment. Apart from that, the growing material that is used. Now, for example, I am staying on the 5th floor. I do not have a proper ground to grow them, so I have to unfortunately work with pots. Now, ideally, these succulents do not prefer to be grown in pots, or they prefer really huge pots. Again, I cannot get large pots over here, so this is the maximum that I can go with. A lot of people in environments that are very dry but very cool, they tend to grow really huge in huge pots. Now, for example, this succulent has been with me for a couple of months now. If this succulent was growing in a large pot or in ground, it would have definitely reached at least 3 to 4 feet in size, but I can't do much about it. Now, I'm not a big fan of these succulents. These are usually that I receive in combo, so they are part of combo, and I cannot take this succulent out from that combo. It is a complete combo that I have to purchase, and I end up with these succulents. I'm not a big fan of these Aeoniums because now that we are getting into summer, it is going to start dropping majority of its leaves. Over here, as you can see, the leaves have already started to dry out and fall. And most of the times hardly only the crown area is left. All of the leaves start to fall off because of the heat. They did tend to go dormant during the summers. Winter is its growing period, and the moment the temperatures rise, it starts affecting the Aeoniums. A lot of the Aeoniums are going to drop off all of the leaves. In my case, only the crown area usually stays, and rest of all the leaves tend to fall off, which is absolutely fine. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, it's absolutely fine, because I'm not much into Aeoniums, especially this one, because I don't have a lot of space. But extremely beautiful succulent, and I wanted to make a video because someone had asked me about this variety. So you can see a lot of new growth on the crown, but the older leaves are very haywire and they start falling off. Now, what I have realized with this succulent is the moment you pot it in any container, ensure that you do not move it. You just leave it as it is, and it's going to do quite well. That's what I do with these guys. The only thing I do is I water it whenever the soil is dry. It is kept in indirect bright light in a cooler area right now because it's getting very warm, and I keep the soil very slight moist. Ensure that the soil does not get heated, because they do not like the soil to be heated. If the soil is getting hot because of the sunlight, then move it in indirect bright light during the dormant period. During winters, it does not have much of an issue. Now, I'll show you something very interesting. This is a pot. I'm sure you might have seen this long time ago because I was not around. Everything went haywire. So I had done a lot of cuttings. Now, when I was doing cutting, I realized that I had one of the Aeonium in this at the corner, and I don't know how it has survived. So that's what I say. Succulents are very opportunistic growers. I don't know how it landed up in this spot. Mostly what I feel is, when I was doing unboxing, I found this variety in the combo, and I thought that I'm going to repot it later, and I might have kept it in this spot, and I completely forgot about it. And you can see it's doing absolutely well. I think I might have shown you this earlier as well. I will try to find the clip and put the clip on this video so that you'll be able to understand. So I completely forgot about this Aeonium. After that, I was thinking of repotting it, but it was just left in this pot. And now I don't think I'm going to take it out, because it's very comfortable in this pot. It has been doing quite well. You can see all of the other plants are also doing extremely well, and it's kind of tucked in between. I do not want to repot it because I don't know, it's already summers. If I'm going to take it out, I don't know if it's going to adjust in the new soil or not. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. Any which ways, it's not doing any harm. It is doing quite well. And I was quite surprised because this pot was left unattended for a very long time. Now that I have started watering it, a lot of new growth is starting to come up. My watch chain or Crassula muscosa also is doing quite well around it. So I think I'm going to leave it as it is. I do not want to play around, especially with the succulent that is getting dormant. I do not want to touch it. So I'm going to leave it as it is, because any which ways I have another one over here in a separate pot. So even if this is gonna die, it's absolutely fine, but I don't think it's gonna die because it looks pretty healthy. It was not watered for a really long time, but still it did quite well, and I'm very surprised about it. So I'm just gonna leave that aside. So this is all about what I can talk about this variety. Try to keep the soil very loose, porous, and try to maintain a very slight moisture in the soil, not soggy wet soil. So all I can say is just leave it aside. The soil has to be loose, porous and well draining. Do not let the soil get heated. It has to be in a very cool environment, or it has to be in a surrounding where it's very cool during its dormant period. But if you are from a place wherein the temperatures are rising above 40 degrees Celsius, maybe it might get affected a lot, but try to keep it in a place wherein it receives a good amount of cool air circulation so that it does not get affected. But most probably it will drop off all the leaves, because this succulent is going to react different in different environments. So I'm not very sure. In my city, in my summer environment, the leaves tend to drop off, the lower leaves. But as soon as the monsoons come in, when the temperatures start to get cool, it starts to grow back rapidly. The leaves start coming in, because during the monsoon season in my city, the temperature becomes really cool. It reaches up to 20 degrees Celsius during the monsoon season, and that's when I've seen that it gets an outburst of growth. So most probably this succulent does not prefer a lot of warm climate. That's why it tends to go dormant during the summers, because it cannot handle a lot of heat. So you have to be a little bit careful about this. Again, as I said, a lot of people find it really easy to grow. Again, that all depends upon the environment and climate. A lot of people don't even take care much of the succulent, and it keeps thriving. So it has to do a lot with the environment. And again, if you have an option of growing it in ground, I would suggest grow it in ground or grow it in a larger pot. It's going to do excellent. So propagation, again, leaf propagation is not possible. You can do a stem cutting. It works out really well with stem cutting. Leaf propagation, I'm not very sure if it's going to get propagated via leaves, because there are a lot of Aeoniums that do not propagate via leaves. Stem cutting is one option. Separating of the offsets is another option. You can do that once it reaches a decent size. Another thing about the succulent, this is a monocropic succulent. So basically it will flower. Once it flowers, it's going to last for let's say 5 to 6 months. The flower is going to last. That's called as a death bloom. And before it puts out the death bloom, before the succulent completely dies off, it is going to put out a lot of offsets. So you can separate them and keep them aside. When we talk about death bloom, it's not that like a regular bloom which is going to happen within a couple of weeks. A death bloom takes around 5 to 6 months. The death bloom is going to absorb all of the energy from the mother plant, and eventually it's going to die. If you're going to cut the death bloom, it doesn't make any sense. The succulent will any which ways die. That's what I have heard and I have seen. I have never had any death bloom, because I never kept Aeoniums. This was the only one that I had. But it's ideally said that the Aeoniums will put a death bloom. It will last for 6 months. In that 6 months period, it's going to put out a lot of pups and offsets. You can separate them once they reach a decent size. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.